Long before the dawn of our modern world, amidst the ancient landscapes of the Near East, there lived a man whose life would become a beacon of faith and determination. His name was Jacob, a figure whose story is interwoven with divine encounters and profound transformations. But what could drive a man to wrestle with God? Let's embark on a journey to uncover the incredible story of Jacob, the man who wrestled with God. Join us as we delve into the pages of Genesis, exploring the trials, tribulations, and triumphs of Jacob's life. From his birth to his final blessings, Jacob's story is one of perseverance, faith, and divine intervention. So sit back, relax, and let's get straight into the incredible story of Jacob. Our story begins in the household of Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac, the son of Abraham, and his wife Rebekah had long prayed for children. God answered their prayers, and Rebekah conceived twins. Even before their birth, these twins seemed destined for conflict. In Genesis 25:22, we read that the babies jostled within Rebekah, prompting her to seek the Lord's guidance. The Lord revealed to her that two nations were in her womb, and that the older would serve the younger. This prophecy foreshadowed the lifelong struggle between her sons, Esau and Jacob. When the time came, Esau was born first, red and hairy, followed by Jacob, who grasped Esau's heel as if trying to pull him back into the womb. The name Jacob, meaning he grasps the heel or he deceives, would become emblematic of his early years. As the boys grew, Esau became a skilled hunter, favored by Isaac, while Jacob was a quiet man, dwelling in tents and favored by Rebekah. This parental favoritism would sow seeds of discord and rivalry between the brothers. The turning point in Jacob's life came when he and his mother conspired to deceive Isaac and secure the blessing meant for Esau. In his old age, Isaac had become blind and sensed his time was near. He called Esau to prepare a savory meal so he could bless him before he died. Rebekah, overhearing this, instructed Jacob to bring her 2 young goats so she could prepare a similar dish. Jacob, concerned about deceiving his father, noted that Esau was hairy while he was smooth-skinned. Rebekah covered Jacob's hands and neck with goat skins and dressed him in Esau's clothes. When Jacob brought the meal to Isaac, his father was suspicious, but ultimately convinced by Jacob's disguised voice and the goat skins. Isaac blessed Jacob, bestowing upon him the promise of prosperity and dominion. When Esau returned and learned of the deception, he was heartbroken and furious. He vowed to kill Jacob once their father passed. Rebekah, fearing for Jacob's life, urged him to flee to her brother Laban's household in Haran. Thus, Jacob embarked on a journey that would change his life forever. On his way to Haran, Jacob stopped to rest for the night. As he slept, he had a vivid dream of a ladder reaching to heaven, with angels ascending and descending on it. At the top stood the Lord, who reaffirmed the covenant made with Abraham and Isaac, promising Jacob land, descendants, and blessings. In Genesis 28:15, God said to Jacob, "I am with you and will watch over you wherever you go, and I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you." Jacob awoke in awe, declaring, "Surely the Lord is in this place, and I was not aware of it." He named the place Bethel, meaning house of God, and made a vow to serve the Lord if he protected and provided for him. This divine encounter marked a significant moment in Jacob's spiritual journey. With renewed faith and hope, Jacob continued his journey to Haran, unaware of the challenges and blessings that awaited him. Upon arriving in Haran, Jacob was welcomed by his uncle Laban and fell in love with Laban's younger daughter, Rachel. He agreed to work for Laban for 7 years in exchange for Rachel's hand in marriage. The years seemed like days to Jacob because of his love for her, but on the wedding night, Laban deceived Jacob by substituting Rachel with her older sister, Leah. When Jacob confronted Laban, his uncle explained that it was not customary to marry off the younger daughter before the older. Laban offered Rachel to Jacob as well, on the condition that he work another 7 years. Jacob agreed, and soon he was married to both sisters. This arrangement led to rivalry and tension between Leah and Rachel, each seeking Jacob's love and God's favor. During his time with Laban, Jacob's household grew as he had children with Leah, Rachel, and their maidservants, Bilhah and Zilpah. Despite Laban's attempts to exploit him, Jacob prospered, amassing great wealth in flocks, servants, and livestock. After 20 years, God instructed Jacob to return to his homeland, promising to be with him. Jacob informed his wives of God's command and his decision to leave. They supported him, and together they secretly left Laban's household. When Laban discovered their departure, he pursued them but was warned by God not to harm Jacob. The two men eventually made a covenant of peace, and Laban returned home. As Jacob journeyed back to his homeland, he became increasingly anxious about his impending reunion with Esau. Fearing his brother's wrath, Jacob sent messengers ahead with gifts to appease Esau. The messengers returned with news that Esau was coming to meet Jacob with 400 men. In desperation, Jacob prayed to God for protection, reminding him of his promises. He then divided his family and possessions into two groups, hoping that if one group was attacked, the other might escape. That night, Jacob sent his family across the ford of the Jabbok River while he remained alone. It was during this solitary night that Jacob experienced one of the most profound encounters with God. A mysterious man appeared and wrestled with Jacob until daybreak. Despite the intensity of the struggle, Jacob refused to let go, even when the man touched his hip, dislocating it. As dawn broke, the man said, "Let me go, for it is daybreak." But Jacob replied, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." The man asked Jacob his name and then declared, "Your name will no longer be Jacob, but Israel, because you have struggled with God and with humans and have overcome." Jacob realized he had wrestled with God himself and named the place Peniel, meaning face of God, saying, "It is because I saw God face to face, and yet my life was spared." With a renewed sense of faith and identity, Jacob prepared to meet Esau. He arranged his family and approached his brother with humility, bowing 7 times as he came near. To his surprise, Esau ran to meet him, embracing him and weeping. The brothers reconciled, and Jacob introduced his family to Esau. Esau initially declined Jacob's gifts, but Jacob insisted, saying, "Please accept the present that was brought to you, for God has been gracious to me, and I have all I need." Esau eventually accepted, and they parted ways peacefully. Jacob settled in the land of Canaan, where he built an altar to God, calling it El Elohe Israel, which means God, the God of Israel. This reconciliation was a significant moment for Jacob, as it marked the restoration of his relationship with his brother and the fulfillment of God's promises to him. In his later years, Jacob experienced both joy and sorrow. He grieved the loss of his beloved wife, Rachel, but rejoiced in the birth of his youngest son, Benjamin. Jacob's family continued to grow, and he became the patriarch of the 12 tribes of Israel, each named after one of his sons. As Jacob neared the end of his life, he called his sons together to bless them and to speak over their futures. His blessings contained both prophecies and insights, reflecting the unique destinies of each tribe. To Reuben, his firstborn, Jacob spoke of his might and the dignity he possessed, but also warned him of his instability. Simeon and Levi were reminded of their violent past, while Judah received a blessing of leadership with the promise that the scepter would not depart from his line. Zebulun was blessed with prosperity by the sea, and Issachar was portrayed as a strong donkey. Dan was likened to a serpent by the road, while Gad was promised triumph over attackers. Asher's food would be rich, and Naphtali was described as a doe set free. Joseph received a particularly abundant blessing, reflecting his role as the provider during the famine. Finally, Benjamin was likened to a ravenous wolf, symbolizing his tribe's warrior nature. Jacob's story comes to a poignant conclusion in Egypt, where he was reunited with his long-lost son, Joseph. Joseph, who had risen to power in Egypt, ensured that his family was provided for during a time of famine. Before he passed away, Jacob made Joseph promise to bury him in the land of Canaan, alongside his ancestors. Jacob's death marked the end of an era, but his legacy lived on through the nation of Israel. The incredible story of Jacob is one of transformation, faith, and perseverance. From his deceptive beginnings to his divine encounters, Jacob's life is a testament to the power of God's grace and the importance of trusting in his promises. Jacob, the man who wrestled with God, emerged as Israel, the father of a great nation. As we reflect on Jacob's journey, may we find inspiration in his unwavering faith and determination. Let us remember that, like Jacob, we too can overcome our struggles and challenges through God's grace and strength. The story of Jacob encourages us to hold fast to our faith, to persevere through trials, and to trust in God's plan for our lives. Jacob's encounters with God, whether through dreams, wrestling, or blessings, remind us that God is ever present in our lives, guiding us, shaping us, and transforming us. Just as Jacob's name was changed to Israel, signifying his new identity and purpose, we too can be transformed by God's grace. The legacy of Jacob, as the patriarch of the 12 tribes of Israel, continues to impact countless generations. His story is a reminder that God's promises are faithful and true, and that He is with us every step of the way. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Jacob's incredible story. If you found this story inspiring, please like, share, and subscribe for more Bible stories and reflections. May God's peace and blessings be with you always.